see it live right now. So you can go ahead and share it.
Will do.
We're going to stop talking until it starts now. Still no picture. But I need to share it. Okay.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Natural Parenting Talk with Lauren and Keema here on Fishbowl Radio, in the green stream, and showing simultaneously on Facebook Live on our page, Natural Parenting Talk with Lauren and Keema. Natural Parenting Talk is all about parenting, natural parenting, natural living, and a whole lot extra. And of course, we are your hosts, Lauren and Keema. Today's subject is all about homesteading, living off the grid, and sustainable living. Our special guest today is Chantel Johnson. As always, before we dive into today's topic, we want to spend some time on our weekly segment, which is What's Happening. If you have an opinion about the topic, feel free to call in at 214-431-5032 or add your thoughts in the comments on Facebook Live. So this past weekend was actually very exciting for us because we launched our cloth diaper line, West Coast Diapers.
Woo woo.
And we had just a really great response, both in person and online. And we're just, again, and we say this over and over again, but just so excited
And grateful.
Yeah, and very, very grateful. It's been a long time coming, having our own cloth diaper line, and we're just pleased at the positive response that we've gotten from it.
Absolutely.
And we're just so excited to, take West Coast Diapers to the next level and continue to expand. So again, just want to thank you all for all of that, and just excited.
Yeah, and if you haven't had an opportunity to do so yet, please check out West Coast Dipes on Instagram, and Facebook or Instagram. And if you're interested in ordering, you can get them exclusively at Crunchy Boutique,
Yes.
crunchyboutique.net. So check it out and let us know what you think of our designs and things like that. We are, Bianca, yes, it's exciting to us too.
Yes.
So, okay. So, without any further ado, we want to introduce our guest who is joining us all the way from North Carolina, Chantel Johnson. Chantel is passionate about helping lead people back to enjoying the simple ways of living while reconnecting with their inner spirit. Chantel's passions are effectuated every day. As a social worker, doula, counselor, and homesteader in North Carolina, she is able to teach and show people a non-traditional way of living. In today's day and age, that's just what the soul needs. Since obtaining her Master of Social Work degree from the University of Washington and moving to North Carolina, her visions have continued to expand. She has received her doula certification from GRRACE, National Doula Academy, as well as her provisional license in clinical social work, and has devoted her energies to homesteading. Her visions are continually growing, and she hopes to help nurture the visions of others in her larger community with her teachings and ever expanding knowledge. Chantel is also the owner of Off Grid in Color. Off Grid in Color is a homestead sanctuary for health and wellness. Her mission is to lead to greater self-sufficiency through farm raised food, birth coaching, counseling, and community outreach. That is a mouthful, but welcome, 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 Chantel. We're so happy to have you with us.
Hey, hey, hey.
So we're going to jump right in. As I've mentioned to you before, we have been just fascinated with following you on social media because we as a family have talked a lot about just wanting to homestead or live off the grid, which we'll talk about the differences between the two if there are any differences in a moment. But just watching some of the things that you've done, But let's start with giving folks the background. So if you could just give us your a little bit of information, aside from what I've already said, of course, about your background and what led you to starting Off Grid in Color.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Chicago on the South Side, and back in 2014, my youngest brother was shot several times.
Ooh. Sorry.
During that time, I began thinking about what led up to him becoming shot. He was definitely involved in gang activity and drug activity. He definitely was not the same. He was my brother. And being from the South Side of Chicago, you all listened to the news, and that was my life. And those are real people there with real lives and real struggles. And some of the other things that happened there were school shutting down, lots of job opportunities. So the choice that my brother made to do those illegal things are easily made when there's nothing else there. Right. Definitely not trying to take away from personal responsibility. They're definitely there. But doing those things were an easy choice. So as he laid in the hospital, paralyzed from the neck down, I began thinking about, well, what can I do to take back control of my life? And at the time, I just graduated from the University of Washington, getting my master's in social work, and I had moved to North Carolina. And that was a really hard decision to make. And I began making my own soaps and my own lotions and things like that. I was trying to detox my environment and just start really tapping into just making things myself.
Now, why South Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina, I'm sorry.
At the time, I was dating someone, and he was actually living in a small town in Virginia, and I was like, no way, I'm not moving to no small town of a couple thousand people, and from Chicago, so I moved to Raleigh.
Okay.
And so we kind of had a long-distance relationship, and now I live in a very small town now. I didn't know I could do it.
Okay.
And so that relationship didn't quite work out. We went our separate ways, and then I met a farmer, and he was telling me how he wanted to live off grid, and he introduced me to a biracial family that was living off grid and doing some of the things that he wanted to do. And I fell in love with this family and like this whole concept of living off grid and
so you had
providing your own things.
You didn't know anything about this beforehand. This just kind of progressed organically.
No, I didn't know anything about farming or homesteading. All I knew was that I needed to somehow take control of like my basic needs.
Okay.
In its rawest form.
Okay.
And so from there, after meeting him and him taking me under his wings and really showing me how to homestead and how to farm, then I just slowly began doing it on my own. And then my brother, he passed away, it'll be 3 years this month. And upon his death is when I really took the leap in and like, you know what, I'm going in head first into all this.
So for people who aren't that familiar with what off-grid means, can you explain just a simple definition of what it means to live off the grid?
Yes. So to live off-grid versus homesteading, sometimes the two can be blended, but to live off-grid means you are not connected to any public utilities.
Okay.
I've moved a lot in my homesteading journey, and there were times when I was 100% off-grid. There were times when I was like 90% off-grid. I think I've never been more than 90% off-grid. And what I mean by that is, even currently right now, I'm hooked into a well system on the land that I'm on. They use this traditional power.
Okay.
But beyond that, my lights come from the sun. I have solar panels, and at night I use that stored energy from a battery bank. I compost my own waste. I handle my own waste.
Oh, wow.
And I do all that. So
you're talking about when you say you take care of your own waste. You mean everything?
Everything,
like,
my bodily waste, like my gray water, like the stuff that I release from my body. I manage all that myself.
Wow. Okay, we're probably that's probably like the midpoint of where we normally would have had this conversation. But now that you mentioned it, I'm very curious about how that works. What do you do? What does that mean? What do you do with it?
So I have a composting toilet, and so that is pretty much, it's a box with a bucket inside. And so I use wood shavings, and I release myself, and then I cover it with pine shavings. Once the bucket is full, I take it to my humanure pile, and I throw it in there with more biodegradable material like leaves and more sawdust and more pine shavings.
Uh-huh.
Once that humanure pile is full,
You're
I
saying,
let it rest for a year.
I'm sorry. What did you say you call it?
A humanure.
Humanure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And then once it's full, you let it rest for a year, and then you can use it. You can put it in your garden. Most people use it for like their flower gardens, things like that.
Oh wow.
And if you trust your diet, then you can use it on your fruit and vegetable garden too.
Huh. Wow. That's interesting. Very That's very interesting. So, okay, so you're unmarried, no children. Is that an unusual demographic to be in doing this kind of thing? I mean, are most people that do homesteading and or living off the grid either or are they usually families or are you unusual?
Most people who homestead are usually the family that's doing that. They're homesteading. So just a quick difference between homestead and off grid. And you can homestead and not be off grid.
Okay.
You don't have to be off grid and homestead. Homestead is just a lifestyle self-sufficiency.
Okay.
So that means you're implementing different practices and techniques to live a more sustainable life. So that means you might be plugged into a grid, but you're growing your own food, raising your own meat, you're crafting, you're making your own clothes, doing your own health and beauty, home products and things like that. So it's more focused on self-sufficiency. The off-grid part is like, I want to even further become self-sufficient by unplugging from the grid.
Right.
You know, like the sun rises every day. That's free energy that we're just letting go away.
Right,
and
right.
Payne, Duke, which is the place here we use for power. There's no reason why we can't put up a couple solar panels. Even in your own home and have this a hybrid system. What if your lights go out?
Right.
You have to have a generator, but what if you have solar panels instead? Things like that. So off-grid is just another way to further just unplug from society.
Do you happen to know any numbers about the number of people nationwide who are homesteading and or living off the grid?
I do not know the numbers offhand, but just from what I can see, most people who are living off grid are not very vocal. It's not quite.
Oh, I guess that makes
super,
sense. Because they've completely unplugged, right?
It's completely unplugged, for one, and two, it's just it could be some legal issues around how off grid you are. I'm fortunate enough to be in a tiny house on wheels that's RV certified, and so I technically live in an RV on someone else's land. So I'm okay.
So what are the legal issues? What do you mean?
Well, in certain places, like you can't collect rainwater. Like I think in California, you can't collect rainwater.
Really?
If you want to live off grid and do your own natural sources, sometimes you can't collect rainwater, or you have to live in a certain structure that have to be permitted a certain way. So your house has to be built by certain codes and things like that. So tiny houses are not legal in a lot of places.
Wow, I didn't.
One way to get around it is by putting it on wheels and getting the RV certified, so you have an RV that looks like a house.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I want to talk about that. Yet there's so much.
Rainwater.
Why can't you collect rainwater?
Well, it depends on where you're at. Like in California, they have water issues there. So for them, it's more like just preserving the water there. I don't know all the things around it, but I know you got to really follow your state laws and things like that around like rain catching system. And some places in the United States, it is illegal. That's for sure. I know. I can't tell you which ones that they are, but I'm quite sure California is one of the states where you can't collect rainwater. And it might be rules and regulations about how you can use solar panels. Most solar companies don't do battery systems. And that what that means is you want to be able to just store your energy in the battery and use it later. Most of them are hybrid systems where it's still connected to whatever the energy supply is for that community there. And so because there's no money right now for a lot of solar companies to have a battery system because you can't really technically use it in a lot of places. Most people, if they do use it, they have some kind of cabin somewhere tucked away where, legal issues are not that great. But for city folks, that can be really, it's tough around there. Okay. So for anyone who wants to go off grid, you definitely want to think about where you're located and how you can do it in a way that's legal. But most people who are off grid, you don't know about them because it's a lot of legal issues around it.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, homesteading, there's a lot of folks homesteading because you don't have to be off grid to homestead. There's a lot of folks homestead. I don't know the statistics around it, but there are more folks homesteading that I know of than are off grid.
Okay, I want to interrupt you for a moment because we're getting some comments that there's an echo, and I want to make sure that we address that before we continue because I know that can be irritating for people listening. So anybody that's on, can you tell us if it's better? We've tried to make some adjustments as we've seen your comments. Do you still hear an echo? And there's a 10-second delay from me speaking and people hearing it. So maybe just hang on for a second. Can you say something? I'm sorry, Chantel, if you can just kind of test, because they're saying when you speak,
test. I don't have anything on my end.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, so people are saying, okay, they've said it's better now. Okay, well, we think we've addressed the issue. Okay, I apologize for that. Thank you all for your feedback on the echo. Okay, so you were talking about homesteading. So tell us about your particular farm.
Yes, so I'm glad you said that because there is a distinction between a farm and a homestead too.
Oh, okay.
A farm is a business, right? A farm is that's what I do. I'm also a farmer, so I farm. That is my business. A farmer is they're in agriculture, and that's the way they're making their money. And so, and a homestead is just kind of like, it's just my lifestyle. I live a homestead life. I work my farm.
Okay.
So then
just before you go on, just so I can really understand it, because this is such a learning experience for us and it's so fascinating. You can homestead, farm, and live off the grid.
3 separate things.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay. And more power to you. I think it's wonderful. So tell us about your farm.
So my homestead is currently located in Salisbury, North Carolina, which is kind of in between Charlotte, Greensboro, and Winston-Salem. I am on about 9 acres of land, and I'm using probably about 4. And currently on the homestead, what I do for myself is I have chickens, egg layers, meat, chickens, turkeys, and pigs. And I make my own beauty and home products such as my dishwashing soap, my cleaning products, lotion and deodorant, and laundry soap. I don't do much produce, but I do grow microgreens. And my farm consists of this little bit of overlap. So I grow microgreens, then I consume them too. So kind of like at my homestead, I eat some of my products.
Okay, that makes sense.
So there's the microgreens that I do for the farm, as well as the eggs. The eggs are more so homestead, but I kind of sell them sometimes. And it's no money in raising eggs, but you got like 1,000+ birds. But I do what I can with my 15 birds.
Okay. And that sounds like a lot to me.
And then I have my pigs. That's what my biggest product I have is pork for the farm. And then the fall, my biggest competing product is turkey. And I do meat birds, meat chickens here and there throughout the year.
Wow. And you do all this alone?
Yes, I didn't start alone. Like I said, like the person, my ex-fiance, him and I did it together for a while. And once him and I separated, and I had to learn to farm on my own.
So,
That was hard. It's still hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, what does your family think about it? Are they looking at you like, what are you doing?
Are they supportive?
Oh my gosh, my mom was so pissed. I don't know if I say that word, but my mom was upset. She said, "Child, you were born and raised in South Chicago, you go to this fancy college, you got these degrees, and you are out here just roughing it." My mom was really upset.
Oh.
I had to, it took until last year when I raised my first round of turkeys, and I brought her turkey home. And she ate it, and she was just amazed.
At
she
the
was
difference?
So pleased.
Uh-huh.
She could huge difference. The turkey was consumed in 24 hours. This has never happened before any holiday. And I think her seeing the photos and videos of me just, documenting my journey really solidified things with her. But she was not on board at first.
Okay.
She was ready to come save me from my demise.
Now, this sounds like more than a full-time job. I mean, how are you able to, it sounds like just taking care of the animals would take all day, but now you also have produce that you're taking care of or raising.
Yeah, well, I don't do much produce. Microgreens are easy. I sell microgreens just to attract people because they're pretty.
Okay.
I don't do much produce. It's really hard for a farmer to successfully do produce and livestock, especially without a team. And so it would be very difficult for me to manage my livestock and produce vegetables. Now, I am working on producing vegetables for myself, for my homestead, because I feel like I need to do that for me, and that's going to be a good challenge for me. But to produce for other people to buy on a larger scale would be a bit challenging for me right now. And so you don't have, farmers, that's the beauty about farming, is you don't have to do it all. You just have to do some things really well.
Now, Bianca is telling on you. She says you sing to your pigs and your chickens.
I do sing to my pigs. And I go out there to pigs and I go, "Piggy, piggy, piggies, can't you see? Sometimes the world just hypnotizes me." I love my pigs. They're so amazing. They're my favorite animal to raise. Like, my pork is premium. That's my slogan. Like, my pork is premium because my pigs are loved, are rubbed. They're a gentle beast, and I just love them so much. I don't like to raise chickens, but I do it for the people.
What did you say, Lauren?
I will say that Bianca added that. She said that the pigs and chickens are very well loved and yummy.
Yes, they are.
That's something. It's just so, the whole thing is just so incredible. Now, based on, and like I said, we follow you on social media, and it looks like you're plugged into a pretty supportive homestead community or farming community there. I've seen you give shout outs to other folks and them do the same for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So
and
what?
You have to be. If I didn't have a community, I would have been done a long time ago. So
you all help each other out.
I farm on my own, but because I maintain it on my own. But when it's time to get stuff done, I got to tap into people. So shout out to Two Pig Farm, Chase Reynolds. When it's time to take my pigs to the processor, he comes, he takes my pigs. Rework Helena Bossian. This is the land I'm on. She came and just, opened up her land to me and give me great ideas. Even this morning we went to go IKEA to look at some ideas for my tiny house. I was very overwhelmed in IKEA. I was like, I need to get out of here. It's way too much stuff.
It is.
But shout out to her. Jessica Mascardini from New Sam. Ashley Midnight, my fellow sister, homesteader. Bianca, she keeps me on my toes, making sure I'm doing my doula work. Even my ex-fiance, Emmanuel Hayden, with Homestead Lasili, even though we went our separate ways, we still support each other in our farming efforts, and I appreciate that, the work that we do. And my mom, she's a big supporter, and Miss Josie is my adopted grandmama. she buys my food and she ditches right over to eat it. I always feel so bad about that. I'm like, Miss don't do that.
And then there was we got a message from somebody. His Instagram name is Homestead Asili.
Yes, that's him. That's
Okay.
Emmanuel Hagen.
Oh,
Yep.
you mentioned him already?
Yep, I mentioned
Oh,
him.
okay. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to make sure you were able to get all your little shout outs out
Yeah.
there. But I have
And my
another.
customers at the farmer's market, all my customers who buy something from me, I don't care if it's been $5 or $100. I love y'all.
So you were talking about your Bianca says she loves you.
Oh.
You were talking about taking your pigs and that kind of thing. Now you love them and you sing to them
I
and
do.
they're your gentle beasts and all that. You
Mhm.
love all over them, and then you don't have a problem with taking them to slaughter, or
I don't have a problem with it, but I definitely have emotional challenges when it's time for them to go.
Yeah.
Like, I feel bad. Pigs are a midterm animal. You know, you raise a pig for about 6 to 8 months, so they're with you for most of the year.
Oh.
And so it's really you become attached to
I
them.
bet.
And so my last 2 grown pigs are going actually in a couple of weeks, and I call one human eyes because her eyes are I'm very drawn to her eyes. They're very human-like.
Oh.
And the last 2 times I took in pig, she did not hop on a truck. She got to go this time, though. And but she knows. I feel like she knows what that truck means. So it's very difficult for me to process the pigs. The chickens are slightly easier, and I put air quotes around that, meaning that I just don't get to connect with them as well because they're not around as long. But for any and all the animals here, whether they lose their life because I choose to end their life at this time to be a nourishing benefit for myself and others, or if they die by a snake.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that in a moment.
Or because I left something out and it fell on them, Yeah.
Now you mentioned
all their deaths are not in vain.
Yeah, you mentioned that the pigs, their life is 6 to 8 months. I think you said and you said chickens are shorter. So how long are the chickens with you?
8 weeks.
Oh wow.
Very short. Chickens are 8 weeks, turkeys are 16, pigs are 6 to 8 months, and then cattle, which I'm hoping to get into in the next couple of years, are about 18 to 20 months.
Oh, wow.
So almost 2 years for cattle.
I would imagine that this would be very fulfilling, just knowing that you're able to do this for yourself and for your local community. I wish we could get to you because around Thanksgiving every year, I'm looking high and low for the cheapest organic turkey. I just refuse to go and buy a butterball or one of those chickens or turkeys that's been injected with a million things. So I try to find something that's like as close to straight off the farm as possible. So when I saw you posting about that, I thought I wish we were close enough. In fact, I think I sent you a message asking if you could send turkeys to Texas.
I can't ship the turkeys.
Yeah,
I'm hoping one day I'll be able to scale up enough, maintaining the same quality where I am able to scale. But the permit I have, I only can sell and ship in North Carolina.
Okay. Well, listen, we have to take a short break.
Yes. And just for a reminder for our Facebook listeners, you should hear silence during the break due to copyright issues with Facebook. We're no longer allowed to play music. So, like I said, you'll hear silence, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Hang on, y'all.
to Natural Parenting Talk with Lauren and Keema. We are here with Chantel Johnson discussing homesteading, living off the grid, and sustainable living. And we wanted to talk about this Instagram video that we saw of one of your chickens, unfortunately, having a run-in with a snake.
Hello?
Yes, sorry.
Oh,
Here.
okay. We thought we lost you there. Did you hear Lauren's question?
No. About the snake. Sorry, can you repeat it?
I was just saying we saw your Instagram video about the poor little chicken and the snake. So what happened with the snake, and is that something that happens often?
Let me back up. Let me back up a minute. Let me back up a minute before you say that. I've said if you don't follow Off Grid and Color, please do, because it's fascinating following her. But she posted a video last week, and I just watched it in horror as this snake swallowed a chicken, right?
It was a turkey.
A turkey, even bigger. Okay, now go ahead and give us the.
But it was a turkey.
Okay, so now tell us what happened.
So when you have a farm, you attract predators of all kinds: foxes, owls, hawks, possums, raccoons, and snakes. So I was here at the homestead, and I heard there's a chirp that chicks do. You have to be around to hear it, but it's a sound of distress, like something is happening. And so I heard it, and I figured, one of the chickens got out the brooder, and let me go over here. And so I'm slowly walking over, and I open up the door, and I see this black snake with the turkey's head and shoulders in his mouth.
Oh, my goodness.
I was like, oh, my garden, what is going on? And so I just took my phone out. There's nothing I could do. I could tell that the turkey was dead.
Mm-hmm.
I just video recorded. You could just see the snake kind of swallowing up, and then he's looking at me, and he's kind of like backing away, like, oh crap, somebody's trying to take my meal away.
So what happened? Did you get the snake, or the snake just left? Or?
So my land farm partner here in Atlanta, her son, 16 years old, got the.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Okay, now we can.
My farm partner in Atlanta, her son came and grabbed it with the snake grabber. You can see it in the second picture with the little white pole up, and the snake is hanging down. Then he took it off into the woods, and then he killed the snake.
Okay. Oh wow, that's yeah. So is that something?
Sometimes, sometimes you do catch and releases. Sometimes I have to make a conscious decision. All animals have a purpose, right?
Right.
And I don't take anybody's death lightly. I could have rehomed the snake, but the snake would have just came back.
Yeah.
Now the land's open up for a new snake. But sometimes I do catch and releases, sometimes I don't. There's issues with catch and release too, because sometimes when you catch and release and you move animals to a different, even if it's just a community away, you are now disturbing the ecosystem there. So it's you just make the best judgment that you can.
Okay.
On things like that. But those things happen.
So I would have freaked out completely, totally. In fact, that probably would have been the end for me, because. As much as I keep saying I would love to live this life, I'm afraid of critters. I really am. So, I would have freaked out. You didn't?
No, I was scared, but I had to save the rest of my turkeys. Also, honestly, it was dollar sign.
Okay. See, that's how your mindset changes.
You have to go. That's $100 turkey. That's all on my mind. And so when this is your life, I don't have any other income right now. Like, I literally quit my job. 50,000 plus, paying research job, and I'm farming, and sometimes I only make $200 a week, so I'm not getting rich off of this.
Right.
So every penny counts.
Okay,
I had to do something.
We have a question from Taylor Ann who wants to know, how did you decide what you were going to grow, veggies and animals? How did you decide what you were going to do? That's a great question.
That's a great question. So when I first started, I tried to do everything. I tried to grow food, I tried to raise animals, but because land is one of my biggest challenges, I don't own any land. I've moved 5 times.
Oh.
which is a lot. Like, I'm not just saying moving in my tiny house. I've moved animals and everything, and that's huge to do that. The challenging part of it is just it's really costly to do that, and it's not very stable to do that. The beauty of it was I learned my skill set. I discovered my talent.
Okay.
You know, and I knew that I was good at raising animals. I'm not good at growing veggies and produce.
Okay.
I used it as an excuse for a while, and as I said earlier, that I'm going to just start growing for myself. But it's just by the simple fact of just trying different things, and for me, uniquely, just having to move so often that I discovered just my talent in raising animals. For someone who's starting out, I just suggest starting right now is a good time to start your fall garden. If no one has started yet, this is a good time. I don't care if you live in the city or out in the country. You can get some lettuce in a couple of pots or in the ground. It's a good time to start your cool season crop. So get some lettuce in the ground right now.
Well, I'm guessing that you also need to have a green thumb. Lauren and I have tried a number of times to start our own little garden.
And failed a number of times.
Miserably.
I'm the same way. You gotta put systems in place. I fail because I don't like to weed and I don't like to water. So I know when I start my garden that I need to mulch heavily. Mulching reduces the need to weed as much. And I need to put some kind of irrigation system in place. All I got to do is just turn on the water hose and it waters itself.
Well, we were trying we were trying to grow things we were trying to grow things in a pot. We thought that would be easier. We had a bunch of pots and things like that.
You can do the same thing. Yeah. You can go to Lowe's. They have this little water system that goes around in a coil circle, and you can put it in your pots and then water. I got to just cut the water on, and you still mulch it too. So we can talk about that thing more, if you want. But it's things that you can do to help you if you're a lazy gardener like me.
Okay. Now, why did you have to move so much?
Oh, for a lot of different reasons.
I mean, it's okay. Was it
mainly because of like relationships?
Oh, okay.
But the places I were at, I really believe in like farming as a community. But if community rules are not set, things can go awry and things can get messy.
Right.
So relationships going, making handshake deals that weren't that clear, just everyone not being on board, and I learned a lot from that. And where I'm at now, it's still not my forever farm. If I wanted to, I can grow.
Your phone is cutting in and out.
Uh-oh. I have all my bars.
Okay, all right, that's better.
But just relationships, just making bad deals and not fully knowing or understanding the rules of engagement, and I think I'm a lot better at that now.
Okay. I have another question. Farming is not necessarily new to Black folks. But I wonder if homesteading is. I know you said you don't really know the numbers of the people in the United States who are homesteading, living off the grid, probably not farming either. But I'm just curious, do you meet many Black folks that are homesteading?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I get this question probably once a week. Are there any communities of people homesteading or living off grid? How did you do it? How did you do it? And there's not that many of us out here. That one I know for sure. And I know it's not that many of us. There's a few out there. There's not that many of us. It's scary because I have to tread this lightly when I introduce this to Black folks, particularly older Black folks, because this can also resemble something like sharecropping. That's one thing that my godparents asked me, are you sharecropping? Or things like that. Or it could be kind of traumatic if you bring up farming and raising your own animals, because a lot of poor people back in the early 1900s, late 1800s had to do this. They had to do it to survive.
Right.
So when I try to talk about it, I try to talk about it more in an empowering way, because I know for some communities of color and so poor communities, this way of life, even still in some places in the U.S., they have to live this kind of like really rough life with water. It's not very accessible and things like that. Like I learned a lot living in the South.
That's really interesting, fascinating, and I can see how that would be a deterrent, because obviously, like most Black folks in America, we have a history of sharecropping in our family as well. But I could see that now that you said that. I could see
And-
that there being a resemblance and wanting to shy away from feeling like you're going backward.
And also, farming is hard work. It ain't sexy. You know, it's not like the word. Like someone asked me the other day, like, why off-grid and color? What does that name mean? And color, for one, is to really just put shine on folks of color. But two, color is also what the name is. It's colorful. You know, I'm trying to make agriculture fun, sexy, cool, hip. Anybody can do it, and particularly folks of color, we can do it too. And so, like, the in color has it's complex and you know, very, And so I really, like, the average farmer age is 65, a white male.
You said 65?
There's not a lot of 65.
Oh, 65.
Average age of a farmer, 65.
Oh, wow.
So there's not a lot of young folks of any race,
Interesting.
you know, in farming.
Yeah.
And so we really have to save our agriculture, and it's really going to take young folks to get into it. And when it comes to livestock farming, there's definitely not a lot of women in it. Most women in agriculture do produce. There's not a lot of women who do livestock, particularly a lot of black women. So I'm in a very unique area of farming that desperately needs more innovation, new blood, and new ways of just, you know, doing good old farming.
Right. Do you do well at your farmer's market with your meat and your microgreens?
I do okay for a new farmer. I do okay. Obviously, I like to sell out every weekend. But I think from where I'm at, I'm doing okay. So I'm really learning how to run a farm business, how to market my products better, how to expand and how to grow.
You had mentioned that you make your own soaps and things like that. Do you sell that as well?
Sometimes. I'm not really good at marketing those things.
Okay.
Those things are definitely more homestead goods, and I usually put them out when I have events at the homestead. Like when I have like my summer solstice party, or if I have a homestead tour. That's when I put them out. I really don't market those. That's not really what I do. It's more so to show people that you can do it too. Here's a try. You can try mine out, and then you can learn. More so, if that makes sense.
And now that you mentioned the tour, I saw you posted that you're having something. I don't remember what it was called. Was it open house or something like that you have coming up?
So once a month I have a homestead tour. It's very similar to a farm tour where you kind of go to the farm, you tour. You get some. Here, you not only get to look at the animals, but you get to look at my way of living as well. And it kind of gets people out here to kind of meet their meat, get some sustainability ideas, some self-sufficiency ideas, and try to get them to like implement them on their own. So we really just trying to get the community involved and to see that there are people out here trying to live as self-sufficiently as they can.
It seems like you're a real advocate for this way of life. Has anybody that you've come in contact with, have they turned to homesteading or trying to live off the grid or any of that?
I get questions all the time. I call him my homestead queen. His name is Matthew Rouse. He has the Black Haven Ranch. He just about 40 acres. I told him to give him a meal when he's ready. Before he got his land and everything, he was, asking me questions about it and like how did I get into it, what to look out for, what kind of land should I look out for. So I definitely have people reach out to me from looking at land to how do I can, when I'm looking at solar panels, what should I consider? I want to get into livestock, what's the best animal to start with. So I get it across the board, and I love it. I love it.
Okay, so somebody just straight off the bat wanting to have a farm, homestead.
Like us, for instance.
Yeah.
As a family, we've talked about our desire to homestead and to have a farm, which now I know those are two different things. What would you suggest would be the first step? Because I think as a family, we're kind of hung up on the land issue. Do we need to own our land? How much? Do we need and all of that?
Well, for one, I think it's awesome that you're all doing it as a collective group, because I would love to do that too.
Yeah, we do pretty much everything as a family.
That's good. Two, you need to all figure out, what do you want to produce? Do you want to have a little bit of everything? Like, you want to have some egg layers, you want to have meat, you want to have a garden, and that can determine how much space that you need.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody should have a garden. Even I grow microgreens. So I would definitely make sure there's enough space to have a garden. You want to definitely make sure the housing, you want to buy straight land. You want to have a house on it already. Think about where the land is located, how much sun is the land getting in. If it's kind of wooded, or those things are really, are there any other natural water sources nearby? Is there a creek nearby, or a pond, or a river? Those things are, to me, are really important, because it also lets you know what kind of ecosystem that you're going to have there. As much as I hate the possums and raccoons, I know that they're really important to the ecosystem there, and that lets you know if you have different kinds of animals there, that lets you know how rich your area is, how friendly it is for everyone to be there. Mm-hmm. You want that. Mm-hmm. You want to heal the land. There's so many things that you can do, but if you want to raise livestock, I definitely say start with, get you some egg layers, get you some meat birds on the ground. Those animals are quick. When you want to challenge yourself a little more, to get you some pigs. When you feel like you really want to do something for real, to get you a cow. Mm-hmm.
So just in general, or generally speaking, how much do chickens cost? How much do pigs cost? How much do cows cost? I have no clue. I'm just curious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you want to do the standard meat board, which is the Cornish cross, you get one for $2.
Oh, okay.
It will cost you $7 to $10 to raise this one bird.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. $7. You'll get a 4 to 5 pound chicken.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then you've got to sell that. So then you've got to sell that chicken for like what, $20?
I sell mine for $5.25 a pound, and that's on the very low end.
Okay.
I know farmers who sell theirs for $6.25 a pound.
Okay.
For a whole bird.
Right.
Now it costs more if you chop the bird up, and then you easily have a $12 a pound chicken breast and things like that. Mm-hmm. Most people, once they cut the bird up, they try to make most of the money off the breast and the thigh.
Right.
That's what sells. People like the breast and thigh. And if I'm chopping up this bird, I know the leg is not going to sell, the wing's not going to sell. I can make most of my money off the breast and the thigh. Mm-hmm. A pig, it costs me $1,000 to raise.
Oh wow!
Start to finish.
Wow.
How much does it cost? How much does it cost just to buy it?
$50.
Oh, okay.
Just to buy the pig.
But $1,000.
Most of the money is in the feed. They eat.
Now,
growing
growing up, I had an uncle who had a farm in California. Believe it or not, there are farms in Southern California, but and he had pigs, and I vividly remember him giving the pigs just trash and all kinds of just looked like just dumped the garbage in there.
Waste food, yeah. Mhm. I don't do that with mine. I know people that do that, and I know why they do it, because pigs eat so much. My first round of pigs, I got rid of them when they were 150 pounds, and the butcher contacted me. He said, Chantel, don't ever bring me a pig this small again.
This small?
It was eating so much, and I didn't have the money to continue to feed it. I was more prepared this year to do them. I was like, I came back and I had these really tiny cuts.
So how much do they want the pig to weigh when you take it to be slaughtered?
Ideally, you should take a pig that's less than 250 pounds. And now it makes sense now, because I did waste. I lost a lot of money on that pig.
Yeah.
The bigger the pig, the better. You don't want to get too big. Like for me, 300 is a good weight.
So what
you get to keep 70% of the animal.
So what are you feeding the pig?
I give them non-GMO feed.
Okay.
Which consists of just corn, soy, wheat, barley, whatever grains they got over there. And then I always throw in some garlic and cayenne pepper for like just some herbal boost and like give them canned pumpkin and apples, and I give them stuff. I don't like if I make a bad meal. It's never a bad meal in the homestead when you got pigs. Just give it to the pigs.
Okay. Okay. Huh.
I do give them scraps and stuff, but I do know people who like largely give their pigs scraps, and I just think you gotta be careful with that, especially if you're promoting like a non-GMO animal or organic animal. I promote non-GMO, so I wouldn't just give them anything because I gotta make sure everything I give them is non-GMO.
Right.
So, but I do know people who definitely only give their.
Your phone cut out again.
Oh, I said it's possible if you live in an area where you have access to a lot of restaurants or grocery stores to will give you scrap food.
Oh, okay. Okay. Which actually, given them scrap food from a restaurant may not be so good either because it ends up being crap food.
Yeah, unless you go to one of those. There's organic restaurants, you know. It just depends on what type of partnerships you can make with certain restaurants.
Right. Huh. That's very interesting. And what do the chickens eat?
Oh, my chickens. Which ones? My egg layers or my meat birds?
They eat something different?
Yes. I get my egg layers. I love my egg layers, but they're probably the least cared for. And what I mean by that is they're more self-sufficient than anybody else here. They're not supposed to free range, but they free range anyway. So
why aren't they supposed to free range?
Because I want them to stay in the fence, but they don't respect the fence.
Okay. Okay.
So they kind of get out and they find their own food. And so I just give them pig food, which is very similar to the chicken food. And I give them oyster shells for their calcium.
Oh, okay.
And that's what they get. And then they just kind of they eat that, and then they kind of just hop out the fence and go eat other stuff because they're like, all right, she's going to keep giving us this pig food, these oyster shells, and I guess that's it. And and they go eat the worms and the grass and whatever.
Okay. So
now,
that's a
my
more
meat
natural diet.
Oh, yep, go.
No, I said a more natural diet.
Yeah, they're on a more natural diet, supplemented by pig feed. My meat birds, they're on a non-GMO board they call broiler feed, and it's on a higher protein, about 21%, and you do that mainly because you want them to grow inside. They don't pasture too, and they eat grass, but this bird is genetically selected to grow. Okay. So they focus more on eating the grain than they do the grass. Okay. So there's some issues with this particular bird, the Cornish cross. I wrote a little post about that not too long ago. But that's the bird that you can get the size of 6 to 9 weeks.
Oh wow!
Okay. You can get a 4 to 5 pound bird.
Okay.
Or bigger. And my turkeys are even on a higher protein diet. They
wait. Hold that thought. We're going to talk about the turkeys in a moment.
We have to take just a 7-minute break. But before we do that, we want to give a shout out to All in the Nest doulas. When it's time to grow your family, you only want the best in caregivers. All across the DFW area, families like yours are choosing All in the Nest doulas for support throughout the childbirth process. This mother and daughter team sets the highest standard in loving care. If you'd like to know more about the services offered by All in the Nest doulas, including their exciting new childbirth classes and how they can help you before, during, and after your delivery, be sure to check out their website at allinthenestdoulas.com or on their Facebook page. And now we will take that break. We will be back with Chantel Johnson in about 7 minutes. And just remember, there will be silence during the break, but we will be right back.
So hang on. Welcome back to Natural Parenting Talk with Lauren and Keema. We are here with Chantel Johnson of Off Grid in Color. We are talking about homesteading, farming, and living off the grid
Mm-hmm.
and everything sustainable living.
Yes.
So when we went on the break, we were talking about your turkeys,
Mhm.
which all of this is new and fascinating to me. Um, but tell us, you were talking about what each animal costs and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I think I left off with the pig, I think.
No, with the
Or was
turkey.
it the turkey?
The turkey.
Turkeys, yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Turkeys, they take about 16 weeks to raise it. Once again, a commercial bird, similar to the Cornish cross.
Mhm.
There's a similar bird called broad-breasted white turkey. And it takes them 16 weeks to grow the size, and it costs me about $40 to raise it.
Okay. So the pigs
And then
are by far the most
The
expensive.
pigs, probably the cow would be the most expensive. I didn't know the exact numbers on the cow, mainly because most farmers don't really count their time. I try to count my time. So
Okay.
that $1,000 for a pig is also my time in that pig.
Okay.
So without my time, it'd probably be more like $700 for the pig. Still, most of your time and money is in the feed of a pig.
Right.
And a cow, you keep it for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So you have to buy it for probably $300 to $500, depending on the breed that you're getting and the kind that you want as a calf. And then you have to raise it for a couple of winters, depending on the time of year you got the calf. And hay can cost a lot of money. And then the water. Cows drink so much water. And that could be costly depending on if you have a natural water source, and it won't cost you much, or if you have if you pull it from your well, then it's definitely going to cost you something. And it's just a big animal that you have to get it processed. Hopefully you're grass feeding it. If you're grass feeding it, then there's going to be, if you're going to grass feed a cow, then you develop your expertise around how do you grow good grass. You know, what's the best seed for the cow, when to cut it, when to not cut it, when to get them off the land. So there's a lot of time in infrastructure for a cow, too, to keep them in.
Yeah, it's
So I don't know the exact numbers, but it's definitely more than a pig.
wow. So now that you seems like you're just really knowledgeable about this. What are some obstacles that you've run into, or some obstacles that anybody may run into when they're trying to go on this journey?
One, themselves getting away.
Right.
Not having everything. Like right now, I have a Honda Civic, 2008 Honda Civic, and I do my farming and all of it. It's not the best vehicle to do it, but but I'm using what I got. My mom is so graciously giving me her 2001 Dodge Caravan, so I feel like I'm upgrading a little bit. I could do a little bit more. So for one, just don't let yourself get away. If you want to farm, start farming. Start trying any and everything and find out what you're good at. So to do everything. Go eat some tomatoes. Get you some chickens. Like, be strategic about it. But if you don't know what you're able to do, you kind of just got to throw in everything and you kind of figure it out. Yes.
I was going to say now typically if somebody wants to, start farming or homesteading, or is there any kind of legal restrictions they should look to? I mean, do you have to go to the city and say, this is what I'm trying to do, or can you just start doing whatever it is?
You can just start farming. It's not much paperwork involved to start farming. You just kind of got to get you a farm number. Just check with your local county extension agent, or whatever the agricultural office is in there. The more of the legality comes into when you're starting to sell. So you want to make sure you got the right permits and things like that. Like for me to process birds myself, I had to get a special permit for that. And I also I have to have a permit for meat handling too. So two different permits here in North Carolina I have to have.
Now let me ask.
I'm able to process.
Let me ask this question. I'm sorry, but so do you don't actually slaughter the animals yourself? You take them someplace for a butcher or something for them to process the meat?
Not my birds. I can legally process those and sell them myself.
And you do?
My pigs, I take them in. I do.
Oh, wow. So
it's more cost effective that way. Honestly, there's no money in poultry unless you have a bunch of them. or unless you're doing pretty much all of it yourself, and you're able to scale up in such a way that you can make it profitable.
So did you have to get certain equipment to process the birds? I mean, like to take the feathers off and.
It takes. You'll be surprised. The equipment needed is very minimal. It's just about how effective you want to be at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a plucker, but I know someone who has a plucker. With my exemption, I can rent a plucker or borrow a plucker. So depending on your exemption, you can't, like, once I get to the next one, I won't be able to, like, rent or borrow. I'll have to have my own.
Oh, okay.
Right now I could do up to 1,000 birds a year, which seems like a lot, but it's really not a lot. The next one is 20,000. And so that, when you hit 20,000, then you want to be able to have your own equipment so you can really monitor any kind of disease things. Like 1,000 birds, I'm not going to really create that much damage, to people. You can kind of track that pretty easily, and the level of people getting sick from the equipment you're using is very, very, very minimal.
Oh, wow.
But I have a plucker that I borrowed from someone, and like I have a turkey pot that I use to scald the chickens, and I have a tent and a couple of tables and knives and coolers to keep the birds, under a certain temperature to keep them cold. Mm-hmm. And that's it. It's very, very, very slim setup.
And I know you said this already, but how long have you been doing this?
I started, I committed to it back in 2016. This is my first full year of farming. So about
you've had to learn a lot.
Yeah.
You've learned a lot in this period of time then. And you had to, in this day and age, everybody watches a YouTube video to figure out how to do any and everything. Mm-hmm. So did you do that, or you relied on other
Surprisingly, I didn't watch any YouTube videos. I made a bunch, and then they kind of all got wiped out. But I learned a lot from Emmanuel. He was the one who really planted the sweet seed, and so I learned a lot from him. And then things I wanted to learn more about when it came to really like the business part of it and making things legit. That's where I really did a lot of my research on. It's like, all right, how do we make this more efficient? How do we market it? That part, but the whole like how-to thing largely came from him and doing some research here or there.
Okay. Now switching reels. Pregnancy brain.
Reels.
Okay, switching reels a little bit. We mentioned in your bio, but we haven't mentioned it since, that you are a doula. So how does being a doula, how does that fit into homesteading?
Or farming?
It's so easy to sometimes to like leave it out because it's so hard to do everything. Like, oh yeah, then I birth babies too.
Uh-huh.
It all fits in because I think when you really think about birthing a child, it's such an organic experience. I never had children myself, but from the people I helped birth and just from my own research, like the body, as long as there's nothing else going on, has everything it needs to do to birth this child.
Right.
And I feel like it's the same thing with our earth when it comes to like providing food and like living. Like I said earlier, the sun comes up every day, even on cloudy days, and my solar panels still get charged enough to run the energy in my home. And I feel like from the garden to the womb, that we really have this ability to really live a self-sufficient life, which to me that comes full circle to even the seeds we plant in our bodies to birth nations. And I got into doing work. I watched that documentary, The Business to Being Born, and I was like, oh no, we need to do better. And my best friend, Jasmine Boda, Mothering Through Pain, Suffering, and Silence, she's the author of that book and does Black Lotus Mother.
I'm sorry,
at the time she was pregnant.
What's the book?
Her book is called Mothering Through Pain, Suffering, and Silence. Okay. It's a collection of stories of women who like had trouble with their pregnancies or was in domestic violence relationships and how they mothered through those traumatic times. But before she got there, she told me she was pregnant, and I was like, what kind of birth you going to have? She said, what? At the hospital? And I was like, girl, you need to do this, and this. She didn't know. And just planting that seed in her, I didn't know anything about it. I just learned about it, and I felt like I just needed to share with anybody who would listen. And now she's just amazing breastfeeding advocate, doing womb wellness,
Did you say she's
spiritual reading, everything.
Did you say she's Black Lotus mother? Black Lotus?
Yes.
I think we follow her
on
on
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And she's doing all this amazing work, and it all stemmed from me just asking her one little question: What type of birth are you going to have?
Huh.
Which is so
and
important.
It was from.
I said, which is so important, having that conversation.
Yes, just someone just asking you a simple question. She didn't know anything about it. I just at the time, I just knew just a little bit more to her. And now, I don't know, she way better than me.
She took the ball and ran with
it was in that moment when I was like, I need to be more involved in this. And I think I need to work on fitting in more within the model. But I think I'm getting in there. I think I'm getting in there.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I can definitely see the connection between the two with having a natural birth and homesteading. It kind of seems like they go together. I wonder if has anybody ever asked if they could have their baby on your property? I know.
No, but I would love it. If I ever have a baby, I'm definitely gonna do it.
Yeah, because I want to say there was like a television show where women were having their babies in like the wilderness or something. I can't remember the name of it, but just wanting that true, just nature experience. So yeah. Now I know that you are also a social worker as well. So what kind of counseling work do you do, and how does that fit into the overall work of Off Grid and Color?
Yes, so I got my master's degree from the University of Washington in 2014, and I was really on the path of doing more administration and policies. I really wanted to help social work agencies run better, just based off of traumatic experiences I had.
Right.
And once I came here to North Carolina, I worked in the research, and I was doing research around just infants in the welfare system and families in the welfare system and things like that. I realized when I was doing interviews with folks in a wraparound service program, and I was evaluating the program, and I realized I should be the person not doing the research evaluation on it. I should be the person giving the services. And at that time, like I said, my brother died. I was depressed at that job, and what helped me get over my depression was my counselor. And she was pushing me the whole time. She said, I think you should be a counselor. I think you should be a counselor. And so I finally did some soul searching, and I was like, well, maybe I should start counseling. And then I got my provisional license of clinical social work. And I think, well, I know it all fits. It all goes to this whole sustainability. You know, it's a homestead sanctuary of health and wellness. And you have to be able to heal your body, mind, and soul through I call it your recipe of happiness. When you're in that depressive stage, or you're dealing with those anxiety issues, how do you cope? How do you deal? How do you sustain yourself? How do you sustain your body through putting good things in it? How do you birth babies sustainably? And so I think, you know, it all fits in because it's just dealing with the whole body, you know, from your mind, you know, your body and spirit.
That's very interesting. Now, do you have any regrets living this way? Do you see yourself doing this for the rest of your life, or do you have any timetable for? I mean, is this an experiment, or is this is it?
Oh no! Only thing I see myself doing differently. I don't think I'm gonna live in this tiny house forever. I love it, but I imagine myself being in a house. Honestly, probably not a big house though. Like I think living in a tiny house has showed me how much space I really need. I don't need a lot of space. I spend a lot of my time outside, but I definitely foresee myself moving into a small home on a large piece of land, like dreaming it will be a land with people who will have similar ideas, and we all are farming and homesteading together. That would be a dream. But this is definitely not an experiment. I definitely plan on growing Off Grid and Color in all its different facets, you know, over the next however many years I'm able to do it.
I think it's awesome. You've already have such a following for what you're doing. People are definitely interested like I said, we keep saying we are for sure. I would imagine you are influencing people positively in this
Yes.
regard. Like you said, you want to make it sexy. I don't know if we've gotten to that point yet, but I do.
It's intriguing.
It is.
It's intriguing.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. You know, you mentioned your social media pages, and you know that's definitely a way to encourage others to live off the grid. But are you doing anything else to kind of get people to look at this lifestyle as something that is attainable and something that's not, you know, that difficult to get into?
I do a lot of things at the farm. I know it's not super accessible to anybody who lives outside of North Carolina, but I do a lot of events here. One thing I'm pushing now is my backyard raising poultry workshop, just showing people how to raise birds, how to process them, and how to preserve them. I think that's really super important. Whether you want to, have a flock yourself, or you are a meat consumer, or you just someone who's just really curious about how it's done. So I would also love to, like I said, I used to have a bunch of videos up, so I would love to do more videos. People have asked me to do more like YouTube type videos, more how-to videos, kind of like in the raw and the flesh thing. So I definitely would love to do those more.
Yeah.
I can't guarantee those will happen anytime soon. It's really a lot for one person to manage.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing a lot. And dodging snakes.
Yeah, and dodging snakes. Like the other day, talking about my friend Jasmine with the Black Lawson mother. She's doing a 21-day animal medicine thing, and one of the assignments was to go out in your bare feet. And so I did it, and I said, I put my feet on the bare feet, and I didn't step in any chicken poop. I feel like that's my life now, like dodging chicken poop. Like when I go to the store, I'm all super muddy, but I love it.
Okay,
I'm having a good time.
Okay, you just mentioned something to maybe think about it. Okay, so we haven't talked about your house and what it's equipped with. So let's talk about that some. And what made me ask that is when you said you're muddy. So I'm wondering about showers. So how is your house equipped? What's in it?
My bathroom is probably the only normal size thing in this house.
Oh, okay.
I've seen bathrooms this size in like small apartments, but I have a living room. I have a kitchen. I have 2 bedrooms. I know, fancy, right? I have the bedrooms are in a loft bedroom.
Oh, okay.
So I have one for my side and it's a guest side.
Oh.
Then I have a pretty standard size small bathroom with a full tub and the sink. Only thing I don't like is my composting toilet. As much as I glammed it up in the beginning, I really don't like the composting toilet. I eventually want to get an incinerating toilet, which pretty much just burns your poop and pee. That's a little spendy. It's $3,000. If anybody want to help me with the cost, just let me know. Yeah, it's 192 square feet. It's an 8x24, and
so
it has a stove and everything.
So you do have running water.
I do.
And
I do. I'm connected to the well here.
Oh, you mentioned that. You mentioned there was a well.
Yeah,
okay.
some off-grid-ish.
So then you have. No, so you don't have a septic tank because you said you have the composting toilet. Okay. All right, I'm just trying to imagine all this. So what heats your water?
Oh, I use propane.
Oh, okay.
And I use propane to heat my water and to heat the home in the wintertime.
Okay. And when you've moved from place to place, you've just moved this tiny house on wheels from one place to the next?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw you posted something about building something. You were working on building something.
Building a house, I believe.
The greenhouse?
Oh, is that what it was? I don't.
Probably. That's why I got my chickens brooding in right now.
Oh, okay. And it just seems so amazing to me that you're able to do all this and keep up with social media because you post quite a bit. So I don't know how
I do. I try to post every day.
Which I think is
but
important.
It's a part of the branding, though. It's
Yeah.
a part of it. It's a huge part of what I do. If I have to post every day.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important when you talk about advocacy and really trying to get people to see this as a real way of life. Now, we mentioned your family in Chicago a little bit. Have any of them come to visit the farm, stay in the tiny house, help you farm a little bit?
No one has came out to visit yet. A lot of my family are still working class, so it's really hard for them just to get away.
Yeah.
Now, do any of the critters come into the house, like your snake? Snakes?
No, just my dog.
Okay.
I guess my dog's not a critter.
No.
Yeah.
But no, nobody comes into the house.
Now,
I got a lot of ants in here sometimes, though.
How does your dog react to snakes or other animals on the farm other than your animals?
She chases my chickens, so I'm working on her not chasing the birds. To just not mess with the pigs. No one messes with the pigs, not even me.
Uh-huh.
But she's just adjusting or be a bee. She's like 5 months, 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And she's adjusting fine. She's an indoor outdoor dog.
Good. So do you have any like cool moments or something funny that's happened in this in your journey so far?
Other than the snake?
Yeah.
Other than a snake. Oh, it's always some fun things happening. One of my best moments this year was I decided to have a real Easter egg hunt with real eggs.
Mm.
And I was collecting eggs for at the time I had a bunch of egglets. I lost a bunch from stray dogs. Stray dogs are like, out of all the predators, stray dogs, other people dogs are the worst. They are the worst. They probably kill more farm animals than any other prey.
Really?
Wow.
What do they go after your chickens?
And what they do is they play with the birds because they think they're toys.
Oh.
A fox will come and they take one bird. A snake will eat a couple of little chicks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a raccoon will come and get one because they're hungry. This is what they
Yeah.
do. Dogs, they want to play with them all and they just destroy it. I had a big
wow.
massacre
I
earlier
can
this
see
year.
that.
But I was collecting eggs. I was like, going to have this really awesome Easter egg hunt. And I didn't know who was going to honestly turn out. And it was an amazing event. And a lot of people came, very conscious people who like wanted to have, wanted their children to really have a really unique and like really genuine experience. And they were telling me about the Easter egg hunts in the community, how all of them were pretty much fake eggs full of candy.
Mm-hmm.
And my Easter egg hunt, I literally in each bag was 3 pieces of candy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just some things that was growing on the farm there and, you know, water, and they just kind of just played in the field. So I think that was one of those moments when I was like, life is simple, even an Easter egg hunt. You know, you can just have real eggs and people can have a good time and just be amongst community.
I think that's the allure of that lifestyle for me when
Yeah.
you said just living a simpler life. You know, just kind of slowing down some and just appreciating, you know, the world that's around you. And like you said, knowing that it's sustainable living. You don't really need a whole lot of outside stuff. You could do whatever you need to, you know, on your own land or whatever. I just think
it's really cool, but it's also crazy to think how far removed we are from that life. Before we opened Crunchy Boutique, we found a farmer to get goat's milk soap, which we sell in the store. And we went to the farm and visited, and the farm was maybe 2 hours from where we are, which I guess is considered the city. And it was just, it was totally different.
it was like a different world.
It was and it was so peaceful, so quiet. And we were just walking around the farm like, oh my gosh, they have chickens, they have cows. Oh my gosh, they're growing berries. Everything was just, it was just such an amazing experience. But it's because we're so far removed from that. We don't, you know, we don't see where our food comes from, where our produce comes from, none of that. I mean, we just go to the store, get it, go home, and that's it. So to kind of have that experience where you're meeting face to face, I think that's just really cool.
Yeah, and we so often go to certain markets. We have a store, a local store called Farm to Fork, and the owner has been on our show as well. But we'll go there. That's as close as we can get to getting something directly from a farm. They sell all kinds of meat. You know, and they know where the meat comes from and that kind of thing. So there aren't many places we can go and buy our food and be confident about, you know, its origins and how the animals were raised or whatever, what have you.
And knowing exactly where to go, you know, like, okay, I want to visit the farm where this chicken came from.
Yeah, and they could tell us exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
So, but that's really the only one I can think of. I mean, if we go to, even if, you know, you feel a little bit more, you feel a little a little
bit
better.
better.
Thank you. Mo better. You feel mo better. You feel a little better when you go to Whole Foods or Sprouts or what have you. But even there, you know, you still have to be very careful. You got to
Yeah.
read every label and all that, and you're just not.
And even then, still say a prayer.
Yes, exactly. So we have a comment. We have a question. Actually, from my sister, as we talk about wanting to do this as a family, she's joined in and has some questions. Hi, Kelly. She says, has she covered how building of things, tilling the land, daily maintenance, broken fences, weeds, worms, any of that kind of thing?
Just
She
general
tuned in.
maintenance. How
Yeah.
like how do you handle that? Do you hire somebody? Are you doing this yourself or?
Like when things break down.
No,
or
when
need
you
to-
farm, you learn to be a plumber, an electrician, a carpenter. Call when there's big things that I cannot handle.
I'm sorry, your phone is breaking up again.
I call someone when there are big things that I cannot handle.
Oh,
But when can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, but I try to. When you're a farmer, you're a jack of all trades.
So
You kind of have to be because you're going to have a broken fence. This is going to happen. You can't hire it out for everything. I can't do everything, so that's another thing about building a community that you barter with people. Like, oh, can you do this, and I help you out with that.
Okay.
Those types of things.
So about how long did it take you to build your farm? And that's, talking about the living quarters for your animals and all of that. How long did that process
and
take?
acquiring your tiny house or deciding you were even going to
Yeah.
do a tiny house? How did you even come up around that? So kind of tell us the process of how you ended up where you are, and aside from the moving.
The tiny house I actually won off a TV show.
Oh, really? What
I was,
show?
I was on a show called Homestead Rescue.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
Yeah, on the Discovery Channel.
Yes.
And they go around and kind of just save people from their homestead disasters. And so at the time, my homestead CEO and I, when we were a couple, we had built this this structure that was a lean-to another structure that we were living in. And it wasn't the best. It was like our first build. We were so proud, but it was not super structurally sound. And so Homestead Rescue found me off one of my blog videos, which is not up anymore. But and we got cast for the show, and then they end up building us a tiny house on wheels.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what about the rest
That
of
was
it?
never in the playing cards. Having a tiny house has been bittersweet because it kind of it forced me to. It kind of propelled me a few years ahead.
Okay. So
And I wanted to, but it also allowed me to be mobile to do things that I want to do too. So it's a bittersweet thing to have. I'm so happy to have it. I'm happy because if I didn't have it, I don't think I would be able to do some of the things I'm doing now. I would probably be a lot smaller farm because I'll have more bills.
Right.
And I think because I don't have as many bills, I'm able to farm it the way that I am able to farm.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And we keep coming back to water, and I apologize. But my sister, she missed the beginning, so I apologize if we're asking the same questions again, which is okay, because I'm sure people kind of come in and out, because 2 hours to hang on is a long time, so people are kind of in and out. So there are probably other people who haven't heard where your water comes from. She asked if you're on a drip system.
A drip system?
She said, is your watering on a drip system? I don't know.
For my
Kelly,
garden, if it was a garden, that language makes sense. But I personally am plugged into a well. There have been times when my water source came from a creek. And there were times when water came from a well that was solar power too.
Oh, okay.
But currently, I'm on a traditional well.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any issues with the water coming from the well, the quality of the water? Are you ever worried about it being clean or, anything like
No,
that?
actually, my last homestead, when I was getting water from the creek, it was just that was probably the most labor back-intensive homesteading and farming that I did. I literally had to jump down to a creek that was probably like 5 to 6 feet off the main ground and take buckets of water. I was literally carrying buckets of water across the homestead. It was really heavy. I got really strong, but it was very primitive. I was living very primitively. I was 100% off the grid.
Okay.
Carrying buckets of water around for the animals. And the water, I was more concerned about the water there. I didn't know how clean it was, but all the other animals drunk from it too. That's what the raccoons use, and that's what, everybody else used. And I used it for bathing, so I put it inside of a water tank that I had, and I filter it. Then I put a couple of tablets of, tablespoons of bleach in there to like sanitize it.
Right.
I did use it for bathing and cleaning.
Okay.
I didn't drink it. I did cook with it, because when you cook with it, once it gets to a certain temperature, it's safe.
Okay. And in terms of your plants, crops, or what have you, the microgreens, that doesn't take a whole lot. You said that's something that even somebody without a green thumb can raise.
Yes, you can grow that in your house right now.
Okay.
You just need a grow light.
When we were talking about the living quarters for your animals, about what was that process like, building? And I'm sorry, my ignorance. I don't know what it's called, what the animals live in.
Corral? I don't know. What is it?
Animal shelters, animal poops and things like that. Yeah, the language is perfect. Those take money. Like, I just built this last building. It probably cost me, for the chicken tractor, about, I don't know, $150 to build it. And it's made out of PVC and chicken wire. Like, the greenhouse probably cost me a couple $100 to brood them. The pigs, they live in the woods. And it's fenced in. I probably spent, I don't know, $100 on the wire and $100 on the step-in post, just to keep them contained. And I probably spent $100 on the 2 egg layer buildings. So probably have, close to like $1,000 in just animal shelter, wiring, and fencing that I have for them. Which seems like a lot, but it's for what I'm doing. I'm very small. I call myself a tiny farmer. I'm not even a small farmer. I'm a tiny farmer.
Okay. And I want to go back to what my sister said. She said she has this mental picture of you jumping in the creek and dodging snakes and all that. She's
not
no longer
dodging snakes, but definitely jumping down, hurting my knees.
She's no longer at the place where she was jumping in creeks. But unfortunately, her livestock it attracts snakes and other critters. So that comes with the territory. So and I attract animals automatically anyway. It seems. I mean, I've had I attract animals. So. But I have another question. I seem to remember that you also posted something about canning. So are you preserving your microgreens, or you sharing with another farm? I know you said you don't really raise anything else or grow anything else. So
so sometimes I go to other farms and I pick things and I can them. So I have a friend who has a bunch of blueberry bushes. So I picked blueberries and I made blueberry jam. With my chickens, so because I sell my chickens and I consume my own chickens, I will preserve some of them by canning them. I have access to a refrigerator, but in my tiny house I don't have one. So I try to come up with really innovative ways to like store food in here and eat food in here without needing refrigeration. So I have definitely tested the limits of food, trust me.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I was going to say, I can't even imagine living without a refrigerator.
I've learned the importance of having one, definitely. I would love to have one in a tiny house one day. I don't generate enough power from my solar panels to run one all day. My solar panels are good enough to give me lights and to charge small devices. That's it.
But so a refrigerator takes too much power so if you wanted to do that, you'd have to upgrade and get additional solar panels.
Yeah, additional solar panels, additional batteries.
Okay.
One day, small steps.
Now, here's another question. If you want to leave your property for several days, who handles things for you?
I'll ask my farm partner Helena or someone in the community to come watch my farm. I'm going to Chicago next weekend, so that's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
It's scary to leave for those amount of days. Usually, when you leave your farm, you come back, some animal has died, and something always happens. So I try not to travel, especially during this time of year. But I haven't seen my family in a while, and I miss them. We're going to have a little family vacay. So cross your fingers that all the animals are fine.
Yeah, we will definitely be saying a prayer that your farm stays intact while you're gone. Yeah, I can imagine it would be difficult to leave. Now, you talked about, I think you said your words were being afraid to leave sometimes because you don't know what it's going to be like when you come back. But are you ever afraid when you're there? I mean,
no.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm a real fraidy cat.
Yeah. In the beginning, when I first started, when I first was moving on big acres of land, I was terrified. I remember when I was so scared to handle chickens and to like walk outside in the dark, and like I needed to go everywhere with me. I was just a little scared puppy dog. But now, I'll go out there. I see a fox run out there with my shotgun, and I can grab a chicken with no problem. I know how to wrangle with the pigs a little bit. It all just came with time and just developing. Just becoming more comfortable with the environment and knowing the lay of the land and knowing how people operate. I was terrified of guns. My brother was shot and killed by a gun. And now to own a shotgun is like, it's a necessity.
Yes, I can see that.
So you have to kind of patrol the farm 24 hours. You can't just say, okay, good night, I'll see you in the morning.
I go sleep at night, but like right now I'm in my tiny house and I can look out. I see the pigs, I see the egg layers, and I see the chicks. Okay. Right now.
But you still have to
that
keep
doesn't always
an ear
happen.
out.
Yeah, I do. Several times a day I go out and I go look at, especially the chickens. But I visit the pigs at least twice a day. The egg layers, I just kind of just look at them. I love them, but they kind of do their own thing. I visit the turkeys and the chicken and meat chickens probably 4 times a day.
Oh, okay. Now, do you eat eggs every day? Do you go in, or do you sell them?
Surprisingly, I do not eat eggs every day. I like them, but I don't eat them every day. I have so many eggs. That's why I sell them at the farmer's market. For me, it just gives me a little extra change in my pocket. I'm not profitable with eggs. I just have so many of them. I was like, just take them. Let's give you $5 for them.
I wish we lived close by. I know. What about ducks? You don't have any ducks, huh?
I had some. I gave my last duck away. She wasn't doing much for the farm.
It's like, look, you got to work to live here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's true. I was like, someone was like, I would like that duck. I said, you can have her. She wasn't doing it. She wasn't laying any eggs. She had a partner. I had a Drake in there, but he was having sex with the hens. And when it comes to farming,
wait,
you gotta.
Wait a minute. What?
The Drake, the male duck, was having sex with the chicken hens. And the issue with that is ducks have very long corkscrew penises. And if they penetrate the hens, they can pull the chicken hens insides out.
Oh, my God.
The duck hen, she's able to accept the Drakes. She can accept it or reject it. She can reject it by not expanding her vagina reproductive system. Expand it because his is counterclockwise and hers is clockwise. The corkscrew, I could be mixing up which direction it is, but they don't go in the same direction. So she doesn't want it, she doesn't expand it, he can't get it in. If she wants a sperm, she expands it, and he's able to get it in and fertilize her. She got fertilized eggs. But once I saw him penetrating the hens, I had to get rid of him. I just let him out the fence. I never seen him again. I don't know where he's at. But then the duck hen, she stopped laying eggs for me. She stopped laying eggs. I think she was sad.
So
you said she was sad.
The ducks and the chickens can have eggs.
She stopped laying for me.
Oh, she stopped laying. She said you got rid of my man.
I had to like, yes, I swear I think that what it was. Like, he was gone for 2 months. She didn't give me that one more egg.
She said,
I gave it away.
You running my man away. Okay.
I ran her man away. She didn't give me that one more egg.
So ducks and chickens can have what is like a hybrid egg?
Kelly says some hybrid organic eggs.
I'm not sure, but I ain't hatching none of them. So I don't know what could have happened. At this point, the sperm is way gone out of their system.
That is crazy. I've literally never heard. I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah.
I didn't.
It
That's
freaked me
crazy.
out when I saw the duck's penis come out of the chicken hand, and I saw blood on his penis, and then she pooped afterwards. There was blood in her poop. I was like,
So
oh,
you
he
were
has to
just
go.
like right there on the
It
scene
was-
when all this was happening.
I was looking at it because I saw him chasing them. I said, let me see if he really like having sex with his hands. And I saw it. And I was like, no. And it sound painful. Her cry when a rooster has sex with a chicken, it's like, don't do it. But when a duck, it's like, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
My hand is suffering.
That is crazy.
There's so many funny things I could say, but I won't.
It's so many, and I know like all the like things like cock block and all like the farm sayings all make sense now.
Yeah.
Now that I'm farming. I love it.
Oh my
It's funny
gosh.
for real. I love it.
Oh, let me not say anything
Wow.
else. Lord have mercy. That's hilarious.
that is-
okay,
that
that is
is.
the funniest. Oh my gosh. Poor little chicken.
Wow.
Oh yeah, polar think. Yeah.
Well, I would say, I asked you earlier what's the funniest thing. That's probably it, or most unusual. That's probably it.
Yeah, most unusual. Yes.
Wow.
I have some scary things. I had a 300-pound pig come out the fence and run towards me. Like that was scary.
Oh wow.
I had to remember that I am in charge. I was like, "Hey, Mama." She like galloped towards me, a 300-pound pig,
300
full force.
pounds.
She stopped right in front of me.
I watched this show on cable called I Am Prey, and it talks about animals attacking humans. So you would have been on an episode of I Am Prey being attacked by your own pig.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Well, I guess I can definitely say it sounds like homesteading farming is that's an adventure, a true adventure.
It's never a dull day when you're
Yeah.
homesteading.
It sounds
Trust me.
like
So when you and your family get into it, you're gonna love it.
yeah. It sounds like
Yeah.
you see something new every day.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
That is too funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it really is exciting because we've had, serious conversations about homesteading as a family, and just hearing you talk about it and everything. I think it's very encouraging. I think what you're doing is very important. I just applaud what you're doing.
Absolutely. And I think it's important that you remain visible. I think it's great that you've got, that you're on social media and people are seeing what you're doing. And you just seem so courageous in so many
Yeah.
ways. You said you were a little fraidy cat in the beginning. Well, apparently, all your little fraidy cat moments
Yeah.
are gone, which is a good thing.
And gives me hope, because I'm scared just thinking about some of the things that you've
even
experienced.
even your picture holding the chicken, I was thinking I would not
Yeah.
be holding that chicken. How's she pick it up?
Yeah.
And what about his claws or his what do you call them? His feet,
it's
whatever.
it's funny because
Yeah.
my aunt, my mom's sister, who's been commenting, she has a bird, and I'm terrified of it.
Terrified.
I won't touch it. I was trying to protect my son from it.
And she has lots of animals. She just
Yeah.
said she'd be in seventh heaven with the animals because she's Dr. Doolittle, truly. So yeah, she would be. She'd be the
Yeah.
animal person. Boy, that's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. How
I
interesting.
have a healthy fear with the animals. Don't get me wrong. Like the other day, I was late getting the pigs their food, and I was scared because when you were in the pen with hungry pigs, you don't know what can happen.
Yeah.
So I've definitely became stronger and more confident, but I definitely still have a healthy fear and respect for my animals here at the homestead.
So you
farm.
have to actually get in the pen with them to feed them,
Yeah, I get in the pen with them.
and they're friendly. I mean, they don't ever.
They're friendly enough. Like that day, sometimes, like I said, they were hungry, and I was sitting there, and I came late with the food, and they're like, "Yo, where you been all day?" And they kind of like was bumping up against me, kind of biting on my boots a little bit, and
Okay,
you know,
boots. That would be
I was, and for like a hot 10 seconds, I had to stop and breathe and tell them to stop. Hopefully, they listened to me. But they were hungry, and I had a bucket of food, you know.
Yeah.
So, but there are moments when I am reminded, you know, that they are animals
With a mind of their own.
and
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because Lauren used to take riding lessons, horse riding lessons, and that's what her trainer, the trainer would say to her every single day. It is a horse, not a bike. It has a mind of its own, and she found that out when she got thrown. But yeah, so I can imagine you have to remind yourself of that all the time. They have their own mind, and even though you may think you know what they're going to do or what they're thinking, you really don't. So you always have to be cautious. I would imagine never really let your guard completely down.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
So what's next for you and for Off Grid in Color?
I wanna do more talks. I love doing this stuff. I love motivating people, inspiring people. So my goal is to really make Off Grid in Color more visible by doing that. Also getting the counseling work kind of going. I've been talking about it, and I'll be opening up my counseling services next month.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm excited about that. And just continue to just grow and expand the farm. For a long time, I didn't want to see myself as a farmer because I was like, oh, no, I just want to just grow good food for me. But I've been really honing into, like, my purpose. And it's really to really showcase that, honestly, anybody can do it. And it really helped. It honestly helped that this one person, it was a white man, he told me, it's amazing that a black woman from Southside Chicago is farming with livestock in North Carolina.
It's amazing.
And when he said it, and I was like, yes, I am a farmer. Not just any farmer, but a livestock farmer, and that means a lot, and I've been really lately been embracing that. And I have someone actually designing me a shirt, really showcasing, a strong black female livestock farmer, and I can't wait to like drop that T-shirt. But so Off Grid Color is really just more about like exposure, showing that we all can do it, even if you live in a condo in Manhattan on the 23rd floor, you can still grow you some microgreens, or if you're in the mountains of Colorado, or you're somewhere down in Texas, everyone can do a little something just to be more self-sufficient.
So are there, you know how there are Facebook groups for everything? Is there a group or an association? Is there, if anyone is interested in just even looking into farming, homesteading, living off the grid, any of those things, what would they plug into? Of course, we want them to definitely plug in with your social media pages. But is there a broader nationwide group that people?
I'm sure there are. I don't follow. I was on a Facebook group called Small Farming Homesteading. They're definitely out there. I don't follow a lot of these groups because sometimes they'd be so bickery. In these little groups sometimes, and you'll be amazed, even with homesteading, someone wants to use a certain medicine and everyone's just jumping down their throat. I don't have time for that.
That's true.
But they're out there.
Every group on Facebook that happens. It's crazy.
They're out there, and I've been thinking about starting one of my own, but there are definitely tons of like homesteading groups out there. I haven't found any just geared so mostly for folks of color, but they're definitely out there, homesteading community groups online.
But in lieu of finding a group like that, I want you to give all your contact information. I know we've said it a number of times, but if you want to, I don't know if you want to provide your email address or whatever.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions or they want to get in contact with you later.
Or just follow your journey.
Or just follow your journey.
Yeah.
If you're not, I know I've said this a number of times, if you aren't already following Off Grid in Color, follow her on Instagram and Facebook. It's fascinating, I tell you, just watching her. And, just watching her, like you said, there aren't many black people doing this, so that adds an extra layer of fascination to it, because obviously because we're black, just seeing somebody like us, as we say all the time, representation matters. So seeing somebody like us doing this is just inspiring, because like I said, we've talked about it so many times as a family, just wanting to have a slower, a more natural way of life. So your contact stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I'm very active on Facebook and Instagram at Off Grid in Color, one word for Instagram, and Off Grid in Color, all their own individual words on Facebook. You can email me at offgridincolor.com. You can visit my website, at www.offgridandcolor.com. Yes, and just a couple little things that people across the country can participate in. I'm doing a 31-day reflection as I journey into the age of 31.
Mm-hmm.
You can follow that on Instagram. You can also look out next month. I'm going to drop my second annual homesteading retreat, which I had the first one this year. So if you really want to learn how to homestead, this would be a good weekend retreat to learn the one-on-one basis or how to begin developing your own homestead. That would be May of 2019.
Give a little bit more information about the retreat. What do you mean? Is it like over a number of days? Is there a cost?
Yeah, so it's a weekend retreat, $500. And this weekend retreat, this last one consisted of 3 days intense homesteading.
Mm-hmm.
What we did was we had about 9 workshops. I probably won't have as many this time because people were wiped out. But we did everything from canning. We canned our own strawberry jam. We learned how to build fires. We gardened. We worked with livestock. We did aromatherapy. We did mindfulness meditation. We did community cooking. We did lotion making, soap making.
So you did this.
We did a bunch of.
I'm sorry, you
and I
did
did
this
this all by myself, by the way.
You said you did do it all by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
I was just about to ask that question.
I had three people come in. I had someone do the strawberry one, someone did the mindfulness, and someone did the fire building. But everything else, I did.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
So
you don't sleep.
I'm going to have a committee next year because that was hard. And I did all the cooking and everything.
So you don't sleep,
but
obviously.
Say again?
I said you don't sleep.
I do, surprisingly. I try to get to bed before midnight every night.
Before midnight? What time do you get up?
Probably 5 or 6.
Oh, my.
Between 5
So
and
you
6,
don't
I wake
sleep.
up.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But if you're definitely wanting to learn, like some of the questions that came up, like what vegetables to start with, what animals to start with, we covered all of that. And at the end, everyone walked away with not just a whole bunch of goodies and flags, but they were left with their own individual homesteading plan. On how they can get started.
Will any part of this be on Facebook Live or on YouTube, or will there be a way for people like us who are not local to you to kind of feel like we can
to participate? Mm-hmm. I'm going to think about that one a little bit more. I've been getting that a lot, so maybe the next one I'll record some of the workshops so they can be visible online.
Okay.
But that's one that people from across the country can save up for and attend. So this would be a good time to just start thinking about that. Spring 20, it's the weekend after Mother's Day, 2019 will be a weekend, the homestead workshop and retreat.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's amazing. I think you're doing fantastic work. We really appreciate you being on the show and sharing as much as you have with us. It has encouraged me even more. We, obviously, Lauren and I haven't talked about it, yet, but I just think it's wonderful. It's exciting. It sounds very exciting, aside from the snakes.
Yeah.
But I just think you're doing fantastic work, and we will continue to follow you and aspire to do some version of what you're doing at some point. One of the concerns is that, in our family, some of us are a little older. And once you get to a certain age, you're thinking, okay, I really don't want it. I'll be going backward to go to a farm, and I'm working my behind off when I should be thinking about retirement. Right. So, when we talk about our family, we're really talking about with all of us all together, it's probably 20 some of us. So, and some of us are older. So maybe we would just have to have it set up so that, us older folk can kind of sit down a little bit or do the lighter work, and some of the younger folks can do the other. I don't know, but just something to consider, because it does sound like hard work. It's not a retirement plan for sure.
No, it's not.
Okay, well, our time is up. Believe it or not, we
wow.
The 2 hours has gone by really fast. Thank you again for being on our
Thank
show.
You
We
all.
really appreciate it. Everybody, please be sure to follow Off Grid and Color, and if you have any questions, be sure to leave the comments on this video, and we will monitor it and respond to any comments that you have. Please remember Crunchy Boutique, the natural parenting store in Arlington, Texas, and online. Crunchy Boutique is your one-stop shop for cloth diapers, and we just released our new diaper line. breastfeeding supplies, baby carriers, natural skincare, and other products for your entire family. Thank you to our listeners and Facebook Live viewers. Be sure to catch us each and every Monday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Fishbowl Radio Network on fbrn.us in the green stream, or find us on our Facebook page, Natural Parenting Talk with Lauren and Keema. If you'd like to continue today's conversation, like I said, just leave some comments and we will respond. And that is it for us today, y'all. Thank you so much. We appreciate it, and have a great remainder of the day.
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.